Everything was on schedule. We found out we were having a baby in September of 2007. Went in for our routine ultrasound at 5 months, and that's when they noticed there was twins there. Everything was great at that point. They scheduled me to come in a month later, and it was at that 6-month appointment when they found out that my cervix was thinning, and they put me on bed rest at home. The babies were born at 25 weeks and 6 days. The first week, I would say, was just sheer terror. It was awful. After that, each day, each week got a little bit easier, and we're able to sort of focus on what was going on versus just a survival mode.
One of the most memorable times, and it was when Georgina got to get in the crib with the boys and have them and be able to cuddle them, and just those things that you take for granted and expect to happen, that you wait and wait for. And then bringing them home, I remember us taking them out of the car and walking in the house, and is this really happening? Like 5 months ago, we didn't know if they'd live.
We went for 5 months where every mill of milk they drank, every ounce they gained, every gram they gained was tracked and monitored, and their blood was monitored. After numerous surgeries in the NICU, they did have to go to the VG site for a couple of surgeries as well with the retina specialist. Gavin lost his vision at about 5 months old. Nate did come home with some vision in his right eye, and then it would have been April in 2009 when he had a bleed in his right eye. And the retina specialist had said he'd lost his vision in that eye. So he was just over a year old when he lost it.
I came to know the Keinick boys from my work as an occupational therapist at the IWK on the preschool team. We've worked very closely with the family and other team members to determine what the functional goals are and to help them to function as independently as possible in different environments that they were in, including daycare, their home environment, preschool, and eventually transitioning to school.
I don't think there's been a moment that we haven't been in complete awe of the compassion and care.
Georgina and Paul were wonderful, wonderful to work with. Are tremendously dedicated to their little boys and making sure that they can do the most that they can do. They were very good at articulating what they wanted to work on and maybe what they didn't want to work on, which made our job easier.
About 4 years old, that I sort of started to see the divide between the two boys, that Gavin was still not engaging with his peers. He didn't really engage with his brother, and communication was lacking quite a bit with him. Gavin was diagnosed with autism, and he qualified to join the EIBI program, which is the Early Intensive Behavioral Intervention Program, which works with children intensively. So for Gavin, really when we started EIBI, he was playing with his tape player and eating raisins. And then now at the end of it, he's initiating play with his friends.
Some families just take a little bit more of a back seat, and this family was really steering the whole team, and we're very good at that.
To be around such amazingly competent and compassionate staff every day that we were there was phenomenal. The nurses, especially in NICU, it's such a true calling. Those women and men that we met are absolute, they changed everything for us, because, you know, yes, the doctors were making some big calls and big decisions regarding the health, but the nurses were taking care of us as much as they were taking care of the boys. At this point, it's just follow-up. So mainly developmental clinic and neurology is who we're seeing now.
They're just two amazing little kids. Like, the things that they can do that you expect kids to do, you wait. Things that I've always taken for granted that I could do or that kids could do. Now, when those guys start doing it, it's just amazing. For Gavin to hand him something and just spontaneously say, "Thank you, Daddy," it's amazing.
And at the same time, they're 7-year-old boys, and they are rambunctious and they fight. And I say to Paul often, I'm like, "Am I doing something wrong?" And he's like, "No, they're just boys. That's the way they are." Yeah. So they're delayed. They're a little bit behind, but they're so musical and very affectionate still. And they truly love friends, and they love playing, and they're learning so much. They're progressing so much better than we ever thought, than we dared to dream they would have.